From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Gentlemen and women, start your engines. This special edition of U.S. Farm Report is from the Indianapolis 500 Speedway, where the 100th anniversary of the race is taking place this weekend. And we have a lot in store over the next 60 minutes. It's a big job, and this milk producer has a personality to match it.
We're putting them on. Everybody over here will finish up and be able to leave.
We'll introduce you to the 2016 Indy 500 Milkwoman. Our analysts bring the heat for our roundtables. It's only fitting we talk ethanol and milk. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman has his 90-day forecast.
Lots of you are enjoying the Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to take a look at the week ahead and the summer outlook coming up.
And in John's world,
happy Memorial Day and happy memories.
U.S. Farm Report, brought to you by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado.
Now for the market-related news. As the unofficial start to grilling season kicks off this weekend, the demand bulls hope that can help carry cattle prices higher. USDA's most recent cattle on feed report shows total cattle and calves on feed coming in at 10.8 million head as of May 1st. That's 1% higher than a year ago. Marketings were also 1% higher, while placements jumped 7 percentage points year over year. Analysts say those placements are due to feed yards pulling cattle in early. Beef prices are on the decline heading into grilling season as ground beef products and items like ribeyes are seeing soft demand, but one analyst says that could change.
I think we're going to see some improvement in demand. I mean, I think the beginning of the grilling season has kind of gotten off to a bit of a slow start. Retailers have held prices relatively high. I think as we get into the holiday season, we're going to see a lot more beef featuring, and I think that'll begin to underpin the demand side.
Seasonally, cattle prices tend to be soft into early to midsummer, so Foreman says we could see further weakness in the cash market in late June or July. Soy meal climbed to an 18-month high this week, mainly over Argentine crop quality woes. The buying momentum came from the funds and was spurred by global weather concerns as well as bullish demand news. Strength in outside markets like crude oil also helped lift prices. Speaking of crude, prices trading above $50 a barrel for the first time in 7 months. The rally is over expectations of shrinking supply after a sharp drop in U.S. inventories. But the wildfires in Canada are also helping cut supply, with global oil supplies reduced by nearly 4 million barrels a day this month. All right, that's it for the news. Now we have a check of weather with meteorologist Mike Hoffman. Mike, is Mother Nature getting the memo that the unofficial start to summer is here?
Thanks, Tyne. For the vast majority of the country, absolutely. It has suddenly turned summer-like, especially if you live east of the Rockies. Now, you can see the drought monitor is still dry in the parts of the southeast, but really most of the Corn Belt, definitely dryness is not the problem. Here we go back a month just to see what it looked like. And you can see it shrunk up. The areas of moderate drought in the central portions of the country, even on up into North Dakota, really did fall apart. It continues to be dry out west, but that has improved over the past year, just consistently. All right, let's go day by day. Here's Monday. 3 storm systems, one north of the Great Lakes, one northern Montana, the other one over Texas, each one causing some areas of showers and thunderstorms. We'll have to watch this low off the southeast coast. If you live in that area, pay attention to it. That could become tropical, but at this point in time, it doesn't look like it. But that's something we'll have to watch, and that'll still be offshore, perhaps as we head toward Wednesday of next week. And then you can see a pretty good system really from the northern plains all the way down to Texas again, with areas of showers and thunderstorms, and some of the focus will be over the central plains and again up along the Canadian border with Minnesota. By Friday then, that system moving through northeastern portions of the Great Lakes into New England. Cold front down into Dixie, showers and thunderstorms along that, and could be a fair amount of moisture flowing back into Texas at that point. Another cold front coming into the Pacific Northwest. Coming up on our next half hour, we'll have our summer outlook.
Thanks so much, Mike. Well, when we come back, our roundtables are all about milk and ethanol. My analysts join me right here from the track when we come back.
Be ready with Case IH. To learn more, visit caseih.com/efficient power.
All right, guys, we brought you to this construction trailer to talk about trucks today. Anybody know which full-size pickup offers a V8 that can tow up to 12,000 pounds?
Chevy. Ram. I say Ford.
What do you think?
Whoa, what was that?
We moving?
Where are we going?
It's the answer to the question, baby.
Silverado. Yep. Chevy Silverado offers best-in-class V8 towing.
You guys weighed me before I came in here?
The Yamaha Viking and Viking 6. The hardest working, most off-road capable side-by-sides in America. Built for the hardest working people on earth. You.
Imagine a lawn vacuum powerful enough to clear the largest lawns, clean as a carpet, and compact enough to hang right on the wall. Hitching a Cyclone rake to your riding mower gives you 10 times the lifting power and many times the debris capacity of mowers alone. It cuts overgrown summer lawns down to size in a fraction of the time. When autumn comes, clear the heaviest leaf cover with sitting down ease. Try the Cyclone Rake risk-free for a full year. To learn more, visit CycloneRake.com for your free information kit.
New in 2016, the Tomorrow's Top Producer Conference will span 2 days and be held in Nashville, Tennessee. Join us June 16th and 17th with speakers on topics including marketing, risk management, negotiation tips, and succession planning. This event will help young farmers master the skills needed to be successful in today's farming landscape. Speakers include Walt Coleman, NFL referee and Highland Dairy Controller, Mo Russell, Russell Consulting, Brent Olkey, Innovis Agra, and more. Visit tomorrowstopproducer.com for the full agenda and registration information.
Welcome back. Well, as promised, we're here from the Indianapolis 500 Speedway for our roundtables. It's the 100th anniversary of the race. So what are we going to talk about? Of course, milk and ethanol. We brought the right people in to talk with us. Mike North of Commodity Risk Management Group. And then we also have Ted Seifert of Zaner Ag. All right, let's start on the milk front, Mike. Not a good situation this year. We keep talking about this oversupply. And the latest USDA numbers reinforce that we're not going to run out of milk this year.
At the moment, we've got plenty of it, and that's showing up in the inventories everywhere. Milk production up 1.2% in April. They added 2,000 cows to the previous March number, brought in 4,000 more cows for April. We're looking at growth on butter like we haven't seen for 20 years. We've got record volumes of cheese in storage right now. Warehouses are out of space in certain places around the country. There is a lot of product out there, and that will certainly play into pressuring prices lower.
But Mike, how do we eat through all of this supply? I mean, okay, we have the Indianapolis 500 race this weekend. 100,000 people are going to toast milk, so we've got 100,000 glasses. It's going to take a lot more of those to eat through all of this supply, right?
Absolutely. The domestic consumption, though, has been very strong. Our issue has been that we have built an infrastructure to support an export marketplace. And as that has softened, and as Europe has continued to grow their own milk supplies, we've found ourselves in a place where instead of exporting 14 to 15% of our milk on a solids basis, we're only exporting 12. And so that leaves another 2% to be consumed. And that doesn't seem like a lot on the surface when we're just talking about it, but it is a lot because it translates into all that extra supply of a perishable product. And when you put perishable goods in storage, the shelf life is short and it needs to move. And if it doesn't move, it pressures prices quickly.
Ted, for these dairy producers who maybe haven't booked feed, I mean, we've seen a nice rally in April for our grain farmers, but for those that need to book feed, should they be doing it now?
I think right now might be a little bit early. We've had a nice bounce off the lows in corn, so certainly soybean meal is very, very strong. I think with planting going very smoothly and the weather that we've had right now would probably dictate that we do get a bit of a pullback for some time. I think we'll ramp prices back up when we get back into the heart of the growing season, June, July, or end of June, July and August. So I think we're going to have a couple-week window where we get a little bit of a depression in prices. That might be a key time to come in and book some of those feed needs.
But Mike, these dairy producers, they've been through this before. They booked a lot of feed. Is that why we're not seeing some of these producers cull cows like we would have thought in a down market like this?
Yeah, so if you understand the seasonality of it, a lot of feed goes into the bunker in late August, early September around the country. A lot of that silage is going in. We've had, a fresh round of hay supplies come into the system. And so as we're starting out now, going into May, June, hay is coming in out of the field. Bunkers still have good inventory. A lot of things were prepaid. So there hasn't been any rush to cull cows. The first response typically is get more from the cows, do better on the farm, get better production efficiencies, and ultimately generate more revenue. That's where we're at right now.
Okay.
We haven't gotten to that place where that has fallen short and we need to start culling cows.
So let's look at Q3, Q4. Are things looking up? Do you think possibly that milk prices could push higher yet this year, Mike?
Well, there's been a lot of discussion about a La Nina type of summer, and if we do get something along those lines, that could shorten up supplies just enough to potentially start bringing a little bit more talk about some healing to the market. But if not, we could really run into some problems as we come to fall. Q3 may not be that time without a weather event. It may be more of a Q4 type of a response.
Right.
All right, well, we need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to hit on ethanol. I mean, we're here at the racetrack, powered by ethanol, looking at that fuel. But how do we increase demand, and how does that benefit corn farmers here in the U.S.? We're going to talk about that with both Ted and Mike when we come back on U.S. Farm Report, so don't go anywhere.
You've committed to doing all you can to increase your yields and grow your bottom line. Like using Stratego Yield Fungicide and its 2 modes of action for unbeatable control of the major foliar soybean diseases. You'll get an average yield increase of 3 to 4 bushels per acre. Healthier fields means higher yields. You're ready to profit from the season with Stratego Yield.
Take a look inside any rotary combine and you'll find single rotor technology. Technology Case IH introduced over 35 years ago with the axial flow combine. But unless it gives you more bells and whistles with fewer belts and chains, more power using less fuel, it's not an axial flow. Because while the heart of every rotary combine beats red, only Case IH gives you the power to do more.
We're all aware of catastrophic storms that can knock out power to millions. Powerful storms and high winds that bring down power lines. Even rolling blackouts caused by our nation's faltering electrical grid.
So how can you protect your home and family from all these uncertainties?
The answer is a home standby generator from Generac. It stands guard, ready to automatically supply power to your home within seconds of a power outage. For a free buyer's guide and DVD all about Generac home backup power, call 1-800-731-0399. You'll learn all about automatic home generators starting at just $18.99. Online at freegeneratorguide.com.
It's one of the best investments I've ever made in this house.
It gives you security, it's reliable.
That gives you that feeling of security that, to me, is priceless.
Call now for a limited time bonus offer worth $495. That's 1-800-731-0399.
Welcome back here for the Marketing Roundtables. We're actually here on the yard of bricks. These cars are going to go through here. Nice time to boost a little ethanol demand.
Absolutely.
Ted, you're pretty passionate about ethanol.
I am, yeah.
How do we increase demand on that front?
Well, in the short term, increasing the blend is the preferred way of doing that. And we just saw RFS come through.
Yep.
That translates to about 107 million bushels of increased corn demand from year over year. The USDA had already penciled in about 50 million increase, so we can automatically start working with some higher numbers for ethanol demand for next year. So that's supportive. Longer term, I think the answer is getting E85 more mainstream. I think what we need to be doing is going to the luxury car makers or the premium car makers, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Cadillac, and saying, hey, you guys are trying to get the most power out of the smallest displacement that you can, and you're using forced induction to do it. The best way to do that is with higher compression ratios. You take ethanol, which has lower BTUs and is a lower, it burns at a lower temperature.
Yeah.
We can really ramp up that compression ratio and get more horsepower out of our vehicles. So if these big car companies offered their sports sedans with a sport package that included an E85 conversion, so that the vehicle was burning it properly and getting that extra performance. I think consumers would really buy that in a hurry and would be very, very impressed with that and would do it a lot.
I mean, Ted, the benefits of ethanol and the benefits of using ethanol, obviously the race industry sees that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're racing cars with ethanol here. I mean, that's the way to get the most compression and the most power out of whatever displacement that you're using. I use it in my vehicle for that same reason. I like fast cars, I like power. That's coming from E85. I have a difference of about 72 horsepower at the rear wheels when I'm using E85 versus regular 93 octane. The car manufacturers, we really need to lobby them to offer this as a package for their consumers, because we've seen consumers want sport packages, and this is an easy and inexpensive way to do it.
So you mentioned the RFS, the Renewable Fuel Standard. We saw that come out a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Do you think they're using a stair-step approach? Because I saw someone say we were so close to what Congress mandated, yet they didn't hit that number. So possibly now, when they come out, this was just the proposal, when they come out with the actual number, that it could be closer to what our mandate
Yeah,
is.
it could be closer to the mandate, and I think that we'll continue to stair step year over year over year. That's their goal, at least. So, you know, the outlook for ethanol and RFS has gotten better. I mean, a couple of years ago we were worried it was going to go away. So now the fact that we see it continuing to increase is a positive thing going forward.
But it is open for comment. So we need to, remind our viewers of that. You can comment on the RFS, and EPA wants you to do that.
Absolutely.
So moving forward, we talked a lot about domestic demand, Ted. But there has to be demand around the world that we could look to as well to really ramp that up.
Yeah, ethanol demand has really been very nice, even considering the higher dollar. So, as all things are considered, RFS and domestic demand is part of the equation, but when you put the two together, ethanol has kind of been the shining spot of the corn balance sheet this year. We're looking forward to that continuing into next year, especially if we were to get a bit of a pullback in the dollar like some analysts are looking for. That could really help boost that ethanol export demand. So ethanol is going to be a bright spot, I think, going forward.
Here, Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start to grilling season. When we look at these cattle prices, do you think demand is enough this summer to push prices higher when we look at the seasonal trends?
You just saw a cattle on feed report with placement numbers at 107%. Those placement numbers continue to come in higher than expected. So when you look longer term down the pipeline, you get a little worried about that supply. You also wonder if we've maybe factored in that grilling season. We had very warm weather in February and March even.
Yeah.
So, we started that a little bit earlier, although it did get cooler. So now the return of the very nice weather hopefully will pick up that demand. We'd love to see some more export demand, though. I think that's really what's going to need to happen to justify these higher placements and really get the market moving higher.
Corn prices. Let's go there. Soybean prices, we have seen the nice rally. I know we had a couple days where we dipped lower, but we carried higher. How do we move these corn prices higher, Mike? And do we?
The reality is if you look at the position held by managed money right now, essentially corn is a bit of an underdog relative to soybeans. Soybean positions right now through the complex are very near to their 2012 peaks. That is going to certainly be a problem as we head towards summer for soybeans, but offers opportunity for corn. If they exit out of the soybean complex, that could boost corn prices as we head into what could be a very interesting summer weather market. La Nina seems to be on a fast track. A lot of the recent ENSO models suggest that we'll start seeing that in late July. That's going to be something that really gives us an opportunity.
So do you think we'll see La Nina this summer? Do you think we'll see that drier weather? I'm hearing mixed reports. What are you hearing, Ted?
I think we'll see it in some way, shape, or form, but it might come later in the season. Just look at what happened in South America. They had a late season drought. Go back to 2012. They had a drought. We had a drought. There's a lot of similarities there, and I wonder if we have that sort of late season drought. I think the biggest thing for me in corn is the USDA is using a 168 national average yield. That would be the third highest yield we've ever seen, and only 0.4 behind the second. It's a very high benchmark to start off with. So I think more likely we end up with something between a 159 and a 162. Okay. If that happens, we have a much different look to the balance sheet. We might have reason to go test near $5 corn at some point.
Mike, real quick, can we bank on that weather event, though?
You can, and obviously weather is a fickle subject. We have to put ourselves in a place where we can have the flexibility to see it, but you should never count on it.
Okay, well, Both Mike and Ted are going to join me at the end of the show for viewer photos, so that'll be fun. We'll do that right here from the racetrack. But don't go anywhere because John Phipps joins us after we have Markets Now next.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by the BV Series round baler from Kubota. For Earth, for life.
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
If you're age 85 or younger, call
800-285-8608.
to learn more about the senior care plan from Angel Care Insurance Services. The average funeral now costs over $7,000, but the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255, leaving your loved ones to pay your debt. The senior care plan will pay up to $30,000 for funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Your rates will never increase, your benefits will never decrease, and your plan cannot be canceled. To receive free information about the senior care plan and its benefits, call the number on your screen now. Also receive information about a free prescription discount card by calling now. There's no obligation. Operators are standing by.
Call 800-285-8608. That's 800-285-8608.
All right, time now for our closing thoughts real quick. Ted, let's start with you.
All right, I'm going to pick on the corn market here real quick. We've had a nice bounce off the lows. We've seen some good strength recently with planting getting in quickly and good weather. I am hoping to see a bit of a pullback, so end users be looking for that opportunity. Longer term, I'm still fairly friendly on the corn prices. When we saw a 2.153 billion bushel carryover from the USDA on the last USDA report, there's a lot of room for that number to come down if yields don't end up being as 168. So longer term, my mantra here is use cash sales to manage risk, own calls or own the board to manage your opportunity if we do get a weather rally later on in the year.
All right, Mike?
I think on the heels of this rally of late, we should also be giving some attention to soybeans. We've built a really large fund position. That could be problematic as we head towards an acreage report that may suggest greater plantings of soybeans and bigger balance sheets. Get some sales made on your soybeans here. Take advantage of it while it's here. On the corn side, I agree with Ted. Use these rallies to get sales made. Get some puts bought on anything you don't have sold. And use the calls to manage any sales that you're making as we head towards summer rallies.
And drink milk this Memorial Day weekend.
Drink milk, man. Winners drink milk.
85.
Yeah, again, they'll join me at the end of the show with some viewer photos. So don't go anywhere because John Phipps does join us next.
Join Top Producer Magazine for tomorrow's Top Producer Seminar in Nashville, Tennessee this year. To learn how you can push farming forward and register, visit tomorrowstopproducer.com.
The new DR trimmer mowers are here, and they're better than ever. The walk-behind DRs feature world-class engines and easy rolling wheels that let you trim along buildings, decks, and fence lines, mow tall grass and waist-high weeds without tangling, even cut brush up to 3 inches thick with optional cutting attachments. And now there's a full line of tow-behind DR trimmer mowers. Choose from models customized for riding mowers, ATVs, or compact tractors. So turn to DR and get the job done right.
Call 1-800-418-1409 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. We'll include details of our special 36-month financing plan that lets you own a DR for as low as $25 a month. Free shipping is now in effect, so call 1-800-418-1409. Online at drtrimmer.com.
DR is professional power done right.
Are you paying too much for your cable or satellite TV? The U.S. government passed a bill mandating free over-the-air digital transmission of all broadcast network television channels. That means with the new TV Freeway digital antenna, you can get free HD programming from your favorite broadcast networks 24/7 without a bill. You just plug it into the back of your TV and start watching all of your favorite broadcast programs for free. There are no contracts to sign, no hidden fees, and no monthly fees. Just free HD broadcast TV. Take it with you anywhere. Call or go online now to get your TV Freeway stick for the incredibly low price of only $14.99. But wait, call or click now and you can get a second TV Freeway stick for a second TV. Just pay a separate fee, but you have to order right now.
Call 1-800-316-1198 to get your TV Freeway. Call now or go to tvfreeway.com. So call 1-800-316-1198. Call now.
Welcome back. Well, every year Memorial Day is special because it is the Indianapolis 500 race. But John Phipps also has memories this Memorial Day weekend. John?
First, let me wish you all a meaningful and reflective Memorial Day, however you choose to spend it. My oldest memory of this holiday center around this plant, the ubiquitous peony, because usually their blooms arrive just in time to decorate the graves of my ancestors. Maybe you could call it the Midwest substitute for poppies. Now, I grew up calling this day Decoration Day, which dates back to the Civil War, which I do not date back to. The name was officially changed in the late 60s, and the date was changed to May 31st in 1971. Setting aside a day to remember turns out to have some odd side effects. Psychologists have learned our most cherished memories are likely our most distorted. It seems every time we recall a memory, we alter it slightly. Now, if you want proof of this mental phenomenon, wait until your 50th high school reunion, as you and your old classmates try to get your memories to mesh. Regardless of the accuracy, it is good to reflect on past lives and what they meant to our lives today. Not just the lives of those who served our nation in the military, but the lives of those who made the world a better place for us. Setting aside a holiday for this purpose can add more to our sense of time and place than just another extended weekend. It can reassure us that we too are part of an ongoing stream of time and lives that are connected by bonds of belief and kinship. That despite seemingly overwhelming challenges, people like us have found ways to, if not overcome, to endure and outlive hardship and fear. Most of all, this day can be a powerful antidote to cynicism as we recount the manifold action of those who have gone before to put the good of the future over the comfort of the present. We too shall one day be memories, hopefully revisited on Memorial Day. While few of our legacies will persist long after our passing, it is not wrong to hope that if we choose our actions carefully and live with honor and especially kindness, those recollections could be a comfort to others in the future.
Thanks, John. Well, as we mentioned, it's a special weekend for the dairy industry because one dairy producer hands over that coveted glass of milk to the winner of the Indianapolis 500 race. And this year, it's actually a woman stepping into that role. We'll tell you why her personality fits the job. That's next on U.S. Farm Report.
U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast. From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report, the special edition from the Indianapolis 500 Speedway for the 100th anniversary. We have much more ahead this weekend. We'll introduce you to the Indy 500 Milkwoman. It's easy to see why her personality and drive make her the perfect fit for the job. In American countryside, it's an odd place for a cemetery located smack dab in the middle of New Orleans. But Andrew McRae tells us the interesting story of why it's there. And John Phipps kicks off a two-part series. He'll tell you everything you wanted to know and more about the trade deficit. Now for the headlines. As a possible major merger in agriculture sends waves through the industry, now people are asking, will regulators let such a big deal go through? Just this week, Monsanto rejected Bayer's $62 million cash offer, saying it's not enough and significantly undervalues the company. The offer would have created the world's largest supplier of seeds and crops chemicals. Now, despite turning down the offer, Monsanto says it's open to further deal talks. In response, Bayer says it's confident it can overcome the seed company's concerns about regulatory and financing risks. As these major mergers continue to pop up within agriculture, Interim Director of the Agricultural Data Coalition, Matt Bechtel, says some of these mergers are a data play and a healthy dose of skepticism by farmers is needed.
But fear can't get in the way of innovation. We're doing exciting things, and 99% of these companies are looking out for farmers' best interests to be better stewards, to be more profitable. Yeah, occasionally you get a bad apple, but don't let the fear get in the way of innovation because it will leave you behind. Technology is going to be a force of consolidation, and if you're left behind, you're going to be out of farming.
Bechtel also says we're moving away from a time when growers viewed data as a burden. Now it's something producers want to do and want to use, as it can impact almost every decision they make on the farm. Nutrient runoff from cornfields isn't causing increased nitrate levels in Iowa waters. That's according to a new study out of the University of Iowa evaluating water monitoring results for more than 7,000 water samples collected between 1999 and 2014. The team compared those to fertilization data from 700 fields. The study concluded that while fertilizer application increased 25% in the Raccoon River watershed, river nitrate levels didn't increase, even decreasing at most watershed locations. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack now calling for mandatory GMO labeling. He says given Vermont's mandatory labeling law will go into effect this summer, blocking labeling is no longer an option. He also noted several major food companies voluntarily labeling products, and even if Congress does nothing because of the labels already being put into place, he says the country has a de facto labeling system. Despite that, he is urging Congress to take action instead of allowing market and state governments to work out the issue. Recent congressional legislation introduced aims to help consumers understand if their food is safe to eat. According to the Washington Post, the legislation is known as the Food Date Labeling Act. It proposes standardized language for retail packaging. Best if used by will indicate peak quality for shelf-stable foods and expires on for riskier foods like raw meat, fish, and eggs. Well, more than 100,000 race fans will get the chance to toast to the largest milk toast ever this weekend. It's all happening for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 right here. Volunteers will distribute 100,000 16-ounce pints of Prairie Farms milk to those sitting in the grandstand along the front stretch. The milk will even be branded for the iconic race. All right, that's it for the news. Now let's check with weather with Mike Hoffman. Mike, I know it includes your 90-day this week. Do you see any major weather shifts long term?
Thanks, Tyne. Not overall. It always does make you nervous, so as a meteorologist, as we're going from one extreme, like El Nino, to another extreme, so like La Nina. So we're kind of in that transitional period, which makes it tough sometimes. But as you'll see in the temperature forecast, we're pretty confident on that. There, as we head through time, you can see nothing major across the country. Not really a strong zonal flow either. We continue to see more of a ridge in the east. A little bit of a trough digs into the middle of the country, as you can see, but then that tries to shift eastward as we head toward next weekend. All right, June temperatures above normal for most of the east, except for southern Mississippi Valley, most of the west, below normal from southeast Colorado southward into northern Mexico. Then we take away the below normal area. I'm confident on temperatures that most of the country is going to be above normal right through the summer. As far as precipitation goes, above normal for the Gulf Coast area, mainly because of tropical systems. And then you can see back into the Central Plains, into the Rockies. Below normal, though, for New England and the northeastern Great Lakes. Tyne?
Thanks so much, Mike. Well, Indiana is home to more than 1,200 dairy farms, housing over 144,000 head of cattle. Now, while all of them are unique, one dairy producer will represent all of them this weekend to hand over that coveted glass of milk. In this Farm Journal report, Betsy Gibbon tells us she's the right fit for the job.
Come on, girls. Up, up. In this 24-row parallel parlor, you'll find Janet Degg making her rounds, milking roughly 200 Holsteins from her family's operation.
We're putting them on. Everybody over here will finish up and be able to leave. And then they get to go back out to the free stalls and lay down in sand. So kind of like being at the beach.
The Indiana dairy farmer
All right, ladies, time to go.
Milks every afternoon, except for this Sunday. That's because Janet is the 2016 Indianapolis 500 Milkwoman. At the end of the race, she will be the one giving the winner a cold bottle of milk in Victory Lane. It's a tradition dating back to 1933, when winner Louis Meyer asked for a refreshing glass of buttermilk to quench his thirst. Now the tradition continues with Janet, only the third woman assigned to the job.
I am so excited to be the Milkwoman of the Indianapolis 500. Not only is it the Indianapolis 500, it's the coolest trophy in all of sports. I'll tell her to start raking.
This isn't the first trip to the track for Janet and her husband Andrew. They've made a day out of the race for the past 21 years. Seats always along turn 3.
So you can say we're pretty diehard Indianapolis fans.
And long before Janet knew she'd represent dairy farmers around the country, race day always revolved around milking.
We do make a big day out of it starting at 5, but being the dairy farmers we are, we do rush home and help finish up chores after the race is over.
It's those chores and roots in the industry that make this whole experience so special, from her mornings feeding in the calf barn to her time outside in the lot.
Huh? 416? You want to come see me?
It's a life she married into, but one she would not trade.
It's a lot of hard work, but it is definitely worth it. My husband and I are both stay-at-home parents. We're here every day for our kids are here every day for us. It's a lifestyle and it's enjoyable.
A passion that's all bottled and ready for the biggest race day of the year.
Because winners drink milk.
Reporting in Indiana, I'm Betsy Gibbon.
Interesting fact, before the race, the drivers all submit an answer whether they want whole milk, 2% or fat-free milk, and the winner, the owner, and the chief mechanic are all awarded a bottle right here on the racetrack after they cross the finish line. Well, up next, John Phipps joins us from the farm.
We're always up for a new challenge. We take pride in every project and every square foot. With Kubota's full lineup of subcompact and compact tractors, we tear down, build up, and create landscapes. We plant, grow, and harvest. We are Kubota. This is what we do.
Every successful grower knows that the best crops need strong roots, and that means they need Radiate Plant Growth Regulator. Radiate features 2 powerful active ingredients that help young crops quickly develop the longer, healthier roots they need for more nutrient uptake, early vigor, and stress resistance. Applied either foliar or in furrow, Radiate makes all the difference for a wide variety of crops. So get the roots your crops need by getting Radiate first. See your CPS dealer today.
Hi, Tom Parent here for DR Power Equipment. Is your driveway a bumpy road full of potholes, washboard, and ruts? Well, for lots of folks that live in the country, this is a normal ride. But it doesn't have to be this way. Not when you own a DR Power Grader, now available at a new low price. Tow the Power Grader behind your riding mower, utility tractor, or ATV. With each pass, the Power Grader loosens, redistributes, and levels surface materials. Potholes and ruts are filled in, washboard is smoothed out, and your resurfaced driveway is ready to roll.
Call 1-800-708-5320 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. You'll learn how you can own a DR Power Grader for as little as $799.99. Free shipping is now in effect, and with our 6-month at-home trial, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-708-5320. Online at drpowergrader.com.
Is very important to us. Please hold.
Well, the next 2 weeks, you'll get your fill of the trade deficit as John Phipps kicks off a 2-part series starting this weekend. John?
Without a doubt, our most prolific correspondent is Gregory Clifford in St. Francis, Minnesota, who is a frequent critic of our trade policies. Would you ask presidential candidates just how long will you take to even the trade balance. If they say we have to take small steps, that means never. Thank you as always, Greg. Your persistence helps me constantly rethink my positions and has led me to some new findings that support some of what you say. The trade balance refers to the net trade in goods and services between two countries or between the country and the world. Often the word deficit is used, and many automatically link that to debt, but that's not accurate. Let's look at the big picture. In 2015, the U.S. bought $760 billion more goods from the world than we exported to them. However, that year we sold $220 billion more in services like insurance or education than we bought. Our trade balance was then a minus $540 billion. While this can be called a deficit, that word, I think, is misleading. First, every trade is zero-sum. What's missing from trade deficit talk is that money changes hands. The U.S. may have imported more goods and services than we exported, but we also exported more money than we imported. In short, once you add in the dollars that changed hands, our actual transaction balance was and always is zero. In fact, our huge economy makes us a generator of wealth, which we use to buy things from other countries. Money is our largest export, you might say. If other countries will freely exchange goods and services for dollars, the U.S. is not necessarily weakened. It is fundamentally no different from Cargill taking my export, corn, and giving me dollars. Because I believe dollars have value, I'm happy. Cargill's trade deficit with me does not harm them or incur any debt to me. However, trade imbalances or deficits cannot be maintained forever if our economy is not generating needed wealth or other countries lack faith in the U.S. dollar. Now, there's no sign of either of those things occurring. In fact, as lackluster as our growth has been, we are still the biggest engine in the global economy, and the strength of our dollar reflects this. There's no reason our exports and imports should come out equal, either with any country or the whole world. The idea that we somehow win when we have a positive trade balance is misguided and obscures a very real problem with trade imbalances that I'll talk about next week.
Thanks so much, John. And if you have questions or comments on the trade deficit, you can email him at mailbag@usfarmreport.com. When we come back, we're off to New Orleans with Andrew McCrae for American Countryside.
Is the early application of fungicide profitable on corn? Does it really make me money?
One of the things is you're going across the field anyway with a herbicide, probably a post-emergence herbicide. It's easy and cost-effective to throw a fungicide in the tank with that application. Now, early season, we're trying to do two things. We're trying to protect the leaves in the middle of the canopy and gives good stalk quality. There's a lot of good benefits out of that. When you're going through that field, you're harvesting, you're burning fuel by the hour with your combine. If I have to slow down because my stalks aren't standing well, then I'm increasing my cost per acre. If I'm going to 4 miles an hour, I have to slow down suddenly to 2 miles an hour because my stalks aren't standing straight. I just double the cost of fuel invested in harvesting. Nothing to do with yield, but that's direct money out of my pocket. So the value of an early season fungicide is not just the yield increase, but also the increased efficiency you see through the season. There's a lot of value from that early season application.
Once you cut a tree down, what do you do about the stump? Grind it down with a DR Stump Grinder, the fast, easy, and affordable solution for stump removal. Thanks to the power of a world-class engine and carbide-tipped cutting teeth, the DR Stump Grinder tackles any size stump. With each pass, these teeth quickly shave the stump down, taking a remarkable 360 bites per second. In no time, the stump is completely gone. All that's left behind is a pile of wood chips. Get behind the power of a DR Stump Grinder to rid your property of tree stumps forever.
Call 1-800-515-4765 for your free buyer's guide and DVD. Learn how you can try a DR Stump Grinder for 6 months. With our special financing plan, you can own a DR for as low as $42 a month. Plus, get free shipping if you call now. 1-800-515-4765. Online at drstumpgrinder.com.
Well, it's called a true treasure in the city of New Orleans. It's not its food, it's not its music, but it's a cemetery with a unique location. Andrew McCrae has the story in this week's American Countryside.
New Orleans' location near the mouth of the Great Mississippi River made it an important city from its earliest days. This low and often swampy elevation quickly caused problems when residents died and were buried.
You can imagine what happens to a wooden buoyant casket which is forced below the ground and the water table rises. Floodwaters could come up over the banks of the river, break caskets apart, and send human remains washing through the streets of the city when it rained heavily. So the first response to this was to simply place the cemeteries outside the limits of the city.
But as the city grew, there simply wasn't a suitable place to be found for in-ground burials. A system developed here to not only bury the dead above ground, but to also move those bodies as time passed.
There are three basic types of the reusable burial. They all have one thing in common, and that is a tradition that a year is the minimum amount of time they'll leave a casket in there before they move it for the next one. They say a year and a day, which is presumably the minimum amount of time it takes for a body to break down enough so you can move it.
Here at the Lafayette Cemetery No. 1 in the city's Garden District, bodies are placed in a casket and interred in a wall vault or a family tomb. After 1 year or more of time has passed, the body is moved within the vault to create more space for others who have died.
To this day, they throw the caskets away, and that always catches people's attention if they've never seen a casket in a garbage can before. It's a very unusual image to people who aren't familiar with it.
Some of the tombs here are for members of a social organization or specific group. For instance, firefighters and their families might all be placed in a common tomb for which they paid dues during their lifetime. The system of burials is commonplace to longtime residents here. However, for tourists, it's something so intriguing, many take a tour to learn more.
You always bury in the top vault first. You begin to move remains down until it's full. Then you need to wait for the year and a day, after which you take the remains out of the bottom vault and you put them into a chamber in the foundation, which is known as a caveau. And there's no shortage of space down there.
The method saves space and money, but perhaps there's a more important reason for the many who are interred in these historic cemeteries within the city.
They're very meaningful for families because you could have literally 8 or 10 generations of a family buried in one tomb.
On All Saints' Day, many families will come to their tomb to remember their loved ones, maintain the place, and even picnic in the cemetery. The New Orleans Jazz Funeral celebrates a person's life through upbeat music. They are traditions that make the rituals associated with one's death unique compared to most of the rest of the country.
First of all, you've got cemeteries that are magnificent to look at, can be referred to as open-air museums. You've got occasions like All Saints' Day that are actually pleasant, and this is the city that invented the jazz funeral, you know? There's a bumper sticker that says, New Orleans, we put the fun in funeral.
The cemeteries here in New Orleans are certainly unique when compared to the rest of the nation. They are customs that date to the beginning of this city. While remembrances take place here throughout the year, traditions like the jazz funeral and gatherings of family on All Saints' Day make this a place not so much about death, but about life, creating a cemetery that is a true treasure in the city. Traveling the countryside in New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm Andrew McCrae.
Thanks so much, Andrew. And you can see more of his stories by downloading the My Farm TV app. When we come back, Machinery Pete has this week's Tractor Tales.
Attention! Call now if you've had an IVC filter placed in your body to prevent blood clots, as you may be at serious risk. The FDA warns that these filters may move or break and cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, or even death. Call now for a free consultation. Call 800-814-7113. That's 800-814-7113. Since 2005. There have been over 1,000 problems reported to the FDA by consumers involving IVC filter systems, including fractures, tearing, device movement, blockage, and breaking of the device. If you or a loved one suffered serious health complications from an IVC filter which moved or broke, call us right now, as you may be entitled to compensation. Call 800-814-7113. That's 800-814-7113. Call now. 800-814-7113.
Imagine a lawn vacuum powerful enough to clear the largest lawns, clean as a carpet, and compact enough to hang right on the wall. Hitching a Cyclone rake to your riding mower gives you 10 times the lifting power and many times the debris capacity of mowers alone. It cuts overgrown summer lawns down to size in a fraction of the time. When autumn comes, clear the heaviest leaf cover with sitting down ease. Try the Cyclone rake risk-free for a full year. To learn more, visit CycloneRake.com for your free information kit.
Hey there folks, I'm Dr. Dan from Doc Talk. On behalf of myself and and the staff at Drovers, I'd like to invite you to our Cow-Calf Cowboy College in West Des Moines, Iowa on June 20th and 21st. We're going to have speakers such as Mike Apley, Tom Knopfsinger, Chris Reinhardt, and Mr. Dave Nichols from Nichols Angus Farm. For registration, please visit droverscowboycollege.com or call us at 1-877-482-7203. I hope to see you all there.
Time now for Tractor Tales with Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week we're headed to South Central Michigan, where we're going to see a family-owned classic, a 1935 John Deere D. Family-owned, this John Deere D did everything on the farm, including pulling the feed grinder for the dairy operation.
Dad bought from his brother years ago. He traded 4 hogs for it. Then one day I was set out by the barn, and then another guy came along, wanted it. He sold it, and then he backed out on it when he wanted to load it up. And Dad gave him the check back and told him that he'd like to keep it. And well, the guy said, okay. We used to plow and disc and farm with it up until about 92. Then we bought a 730 diesel. But that tractor's still ready to go back out in the field and work, just like it never been shut off. I got the feed grinder hooked to it so it'd work it, so it'd start up, because it didn't want to start too good for this interview here. And it's a feed grinder that we use to grind feed for the cows. I don't have any intention of restoring it, because it's like somebody said to me once that everybody remembers the old rusted up stuff. They never remember the shiny paint. I was grinding feed here once. My brother works at a farm about 3 miles away, and he got done milking that night, and he said, somebody's running 2-cylinder. And come to find out, it was me grinding feed with it. I always had in mind to put it in the if I ever got married, to put it in the wedding. It pulled me and my wife up to our wedding reception in Hubbardston, Michigan, from the bar up to the reception. And yes, everybody did like seeing that old tractor there.
Thanks so much, Greg and Ron. Well, this week's Country Church Salute goes to the First Presbyterian Church in Gordon, Nebraska. The congregation is celebrating its 130th anniversary this May. The church has undergone many changes over the years, but a mainstay is the beautiful pipe organ in the church, which was custom built in 1947. Our thanks to Jim and Jeannie for sending that in. And if you have a church you would like to submit, you can just send it to the address on the screen. When we come back, we have viewer photos. My analysts, Mike and Ted, they join me next.
Find your next piece of farm equipment with Machinery Pete. Visit and shop on machinerypete.com today with more than 100,000 listings for sale.
Tommy, I'm a little disappointed. The yields weren't there and the prices are low. We need to sell at a good price. What do you advise?
Hi, it's Tommy Grisafi, and I would like to visit you at your farm to discuss strategies and risk management solutions that best fit your farm's interests. Call me at 855-737-FARM, and I will personally visit you at your farm. Experience solid market advice right on the farm.
All right, guys, we brought you to this construction trailer to talk about trucks today. Anybody know which full-size pickup offers a V8 that can tow up to 12,000 pounds?
The Chevy. Ram. I say Ford.
What do you think?
Whoa, what was that?
We moving?
We're going.
It's the answer to the question, baby. Silverado.
Yep, Chevy Silverado offers best-in-class V8 towing.
You guys weighed me before I came in here?
Are you living with slow internet at home? Or maybe no internet at all? Then you need HughesNet Gen 4, high-speed satellite internet. Whether you live out of town or way out of town, HughesNet is available wherever you call home. So you can live where you love and enjoy a great internet connection too. HughesNet features smart technologies to make your online experience better than ever. So go ahead, shop for deals. Learn new things. Share little moments. And stay in touch. Connect to what matters most with HughesNet.
Right now is the perfect time to finally get high-speed internet where you live. HughesNet, America's #1 choice for satellite internet. Call now. For a limited time, standard installation is free. For special offers only in your area, text FAST to 99000.
Welcome back. Well, the weather has been absolutely gorgeous here at the Indianapolis 500. I know there's showers off and on this weekend, but we lucked out with some pretty nice weather, and a lot of planting actually took place this week as well. But we have some viewer photos to show some hail that actually happened. Let's start in Texas, down by Big Spring. This is the aftermath of hail and some fierce storms that moved through the area. Now you can barely see the cotton poking through the ground. He says 90% of his irrigated acres were emerged. Jeremy Louder took this picture and also video of the hail. Here's some of the pictures of the storms actually moving through. Jeremy says the glass half full view is now he can plant some dry land now that they got some rain. Mike?
Brett Adams in Ontario, Canada ran into a similar problem. He says it wasn't even supposed to rain that day, but the rain and the hail came out of nowhere. He was trying to get the last of his beans planted and only had about 45 acres left when the storm hit.
Ouch! Okay, Ted, what have you got for us?
And in northeast Iowa, the Knutson brothers tell us they are already chopping the first hay crop, and it's unbelievable how thick the hay is this year.
Wow.
Here's a picture of their son, Sam, and their nephew, Quinn, cutting and hauling the load of hay.
And you actually have a friend up in North Dakota that was planting beans this week, right?
Yeah, Mike Appert out of Hazelton, North Dakota, planting some soybeans out there.
Is he almost finished?
Oh no, he's got a lot to go yet.
Well, now we're heading to Down East Maine for this next one. The wild blueberries are in full bloom. Perfect for Memorial Day weekend. Yep. Katie says, and her husband, they work for Cherryfield Foods Farm, which consists of about 10,000 irrigated acres of wild blueberries. They tell us all the beehives for pollination were delivered last weekend. Super pollination weather is on the way. Katie tells us they have to fence the hives with electricity because black bears like to visit, and honey is their favorite meal. Mine too. She also says the blooms look great, and with good weather, the August harvest should be bountiful. Well, we want to send your photos. You can email those to us or send them to us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching the special edition of U.S. Farm Report from the Indianapolis 500 Speedway. We hope you can tune in for the race. Watch this toast of milk that's going to be epic this weekend. We hope that you join us next weekend as we work to continue to build on our tradition. Have a great weekend, everyone, and enjoy Memorial Day.
High-strength steel for high-strength dependability. Chevy Silverado, the official news-gathering vehicle of U.S. Farm Report. U.S. Farm Report is produced and distributed by Farm Journal Broadcast.